So I've been trying to grow Acropora in this tank since I started it 4 years ago. I don't have a problem growing basically any other coral, mushrooms, zoas, LPS like hammers, torches, even some SPS like digitata or other species of Montipora. I have no problem with. I can grow them. But Acropora has always been difficult for me to grow in this tank. I think I've finally figured out why. So let's first start with what happens when I put Acropora in this tank. Well, for the first few months, they do okay. And then one of two things happens. They don't grow very fast. They grow really slow. Actually, okay, three things. The second thing is they die of usually slow tissue necrosis or STN. And then the third, wait, what was the third? Oh yeah, they just have this kind of washed out, really pale appearance. So I've gone through the typical checklist for growing Acropora. For the past 4 months, I've been monitoring my water chemistry like a hawk. I'll measure alkalinity every couple of days. I'll measure calcium, magnesium once a week, and I send out an ICP test every month. All of my numbers are within an acceptable range and they're stable. Next is flow. I thought, okay, maybe I don't have enough flow. So I added 2 additional power heads back here, and I'm really blowing stuff around, so I don't think that's the problem. Bacteria, it's really difficult to say if I have the right kind of bacteria in my tank. New tanks, at least what I've been told, typically don't have this bacteria. My Reef Club has a program where you can borrow a seeded polyp lab block, and these come from really established, successful tanks. The idea here is you can add that missing funk or bacteria if you think you're missing it. So I tried this and I mean, certainly doesn't hurt, but I haven't noticed a huge difference yet. So it finally occurred to me, what if it's lighting? I've got these 3 Kessel pucks. They were pretty expensive. I spent close to $2,000 on these lights, the brackets, the controller, everything. I have them turned up pretty high too. Peak of the day, they'll get to 90% intensity. And they run for about 9 hours a day. Why don't I check par? Even though I think I'm providing enough light, I think I have enough fixtures. Kessel on their website recommends one every, I think, 12 inches for SPS. That's what I have. But let's check. So I ordered this par meter from Amazon. Telegram actually covered this specific model and said that its measurements matched up with the Apogee, the much more expensive par meter. I got this for about, I think, $140 or something like that. So let's get in here, let's take a look and see what kind of par we're working with. So I found it's really important to turn all of the flow off in your tank before you use a par meter. The reason being is that the flow will cause your measurements to fluctuate a lot, and it's really hard to pin down a specific number. So I'm gonna start by measuring kind of towards the top of the tank, where my Acropora are. So I'm getting 140 here. Let's go over here. It should be more because it's kind of towards the center. 170 here and about 150 here. 150, 200-ish par, even at peak, is not enough to grow Acropora, at least from what I've seen from my friends with very successful Acropora tank. They have par closer to like 300 to 400. Now, I've had these Kessels for 4 to 5-ish years now. They were new when I got them. And I do remember measuring par very early on with them with a meter I borrowed from my Reef Club. And it was a lot higher. I was getting like 200 to 300-ish in the kind of the same spots I was measuring. So kind of what I suspect happened is that these started to dim or fade over time. So that really left me with no option but to go out and buy some new lighting. I had my eye on the Radion XR30s, but at $1,000 per fixture, and I would need at least 2 of them, I just couldn't stomach that cost right now. So what I decided to try instead is the knockoff AliExpress version of the Radion XR30. So I picked up 2 of these fixtures for, I think, $250 a piece. So this is the Pro version that comes with the Cree LEDs, so the higher quality LEDs, and supposedly some beefier or better power supplies. So let's get these unboxed and installed on the tank. I'm going to be working on the ground like the true professional I am. So this is clearly not trying to pretend to be something else. This looks like an XR30 body to me. Ta-da! I'm going to be replacing these two Kessels and leaving this one here. I've now got to remember which plugs are for the Kessels I want to replace, and then fish out any of the wires hiding in my little cabinet back here, which is honestly a huge mess right now. So yeah, this is going to be a pain. Okay, so I've pried off this controller board, and behind it you can see my lovely mess of cables, power supplies, honestly a mess. And this magnetic strip, which is no longer doing anything, so I'm going to toss it. Okay, so we've just got to figure out which ones belong to the two I want to replace using, switch test, pull them out, put the new ones in, and we should be good to go. It took a lot longer than I expected to pull off the old lights and mount the new ones, but I finally got it done. So I installed their app and I set it to the AB Plus spectrum, which I think is a copy of the spectrum that Radeon users have available. And my impression is that the light looks really good. I honestly can say that I love the color. And I currently have, by the way, this Kessel turned off. So we're just looking at the Radeons. The lighting is definitely different compared to the Kessels. The Kessels, you get that kind of nice shimmer, which you don't really get with these lights. It's more like a blanket of light. It reminds me a lot of T5s people used to run back in the day. That's kind of what it looks like to me. At this point, I kind of forgot the whole point of getting these new lights was to get more par. I was sort of just admiring the different color I was seeing in my tank. So let's do that. Let's check the par and see what kind of numbers we're getting now. Okay, so here we are getting 330. And before with the Kessels, I was getting like literally half of that, 150. Let's check the middle. Over here. Over here, 270, but keep in mind that's because the Kessel is off. And over here, about 320-ish. And again, I think we were like 150, 175 here before. Okay, so now I've turned the Kessel back on because I actually am going to be using all of these lights, and I want to know what the par is with everything on. So let's check again. Here I'm getting 360, 370. Okay, about 400 now in the middle, and about 320, 330-ish on the edge. So really the Kessel doesn't have much impact over here because these readings are the same on the edges. So I'm feeling more confident now that with like 300 to 400-ish par, which is kind of my goal when I bought these lights, we'll be able to grow Acropora faster, healthier, all that. Whether or not that actually helps me grow Acropora, that is yet to be determined. Overall, I think this is a really great light, and it definitely solved my par problem. That being said, I think with a lot of budget stuff in reefing, the true test will come with time. Do these things hold up for 1, 2, 3, 5 years? So I'll definitely keep you guys posted on how they're working, if I have any problems or issues with them. And yeah, let me know what you think of the new lights, and I'll see you guys in the next video.